Alright, so let's look into this one. I'll just put few notes here. Number one is this property of radicals, to say that you can multiply the inner quantities. And another one which is going to be useful for us there to take note of is that x minus a and x plus a is equals to x squared minus a squared. Right, so that's what we have there. That's what we have. Right, so let's look into our problem here. So want the solution, and what is the question is to simplify the following without the use of a calculator, right? So I'm going to just have that guy there, which is the square root of the square root of 21 x squared, then remove the square root of 5 x squared, then multiplied by the square root of the square root of 21 x squared, add by the square root of 5x squared. Alright, so we're going to use that property there. Let me just change my color to red. We are going to first use that property since we see that we have the same radical of which we have a product there. Right, so this will be the square root of, going to put brackets, the square root of this. So we take this whole guy as if it's our a, and we take this whole guy as if it's our b, right? So this will be the square root of 21 x squared, then remove the square root of 5 x squared, like that, then multiplied by, remember it's a, square root of a multiplied by square root of b is square root of ab. So we're going to have now the square root of 1x squared, then add by the square root of 5x squared, like that. Okay, then I'm going to put the third note there. So the third note will be the square root of a times the square root of a is nothing but the square root of a squared. And we all know that the square root of a square is definitely the inner quantity, right? Which is the base. So this guy and this guy will undo each other, and our answer will be a. So that is the same as me having the square root of 6 multiplied by the square root of 6, which should be 6. All right. Okay, so let's do that and let's see how things are going to transpire there. So we have the square root of, right? So we can see that this is a difference of two squares, all right? This is a difference of two squares. That's our number 2 there. Hence, I said that is going to be very important to use, right? So we're going to then try to multiply this and that, then multiply this and that, since this is a difference of two squares, right? So we'll then say the square root of 21x squared multiplied by the square root of 21x squared, right? Then negative, positive, remember, is going to give you that negative there. So we're going to have our negative. Then we'll have the square root of 5x squared multiplied by the square root of your 5x squared. Right. Okay, so that's what we have there. So the value of x is definitely this guy, and the value of a is definitely this guy. So you can quickly go straight to that guy there. All right. So I'm just trying to show all workings so that everyone understands. Right, so this will be nothing but the square root of, if we multiply the square root of 21 x squared multiplied by the square root of 21 x squared. We'll all agree that this will give us something like your 21 x squared, using that first property there, right? Using that property there, the first one, using the first property, then this will be minus. If we take the very same thing here, the product of these two radicals, the solution will be the inner quantity there. So we'll have our 5x squared. Okay, so I can see that you guys are now seeing the light. So we can then say that this is nothing but, we can then use our calculators, right? Even though it was said we should not use it, but for the sake of having applied some of the properties there for the numbers, just to be sure, you can then use your calculator there. So if you punch your 21 uh, minus 5, remember these are like terms, they share this very common guy here, which is the x squared. So this will be nothing but your 16x squared. All right, then from there I can now reverse this, because I have the square root of 16 x squared, so I can write this as the square root of 16 multiplied by the square root of x squared. And what is the square root of 16? We know the square root of 16 is nothing but 4. And what is the square root of a square? The square root of a square is nothing but the inner quantity. So we'll just have our x there, right? Because this square root and the exponent 2 will more like undo each other, and this becomes our what? This becomes our final solution there. So you can see it was not that bad, right? So this is the 1.3 from Free State November exam. Alright, so this guy is nothing but your 4x. Alright, this guy is nothing but your 4x. Alright, I hope that was clear. So we'll tackle the last one. We'll tackle the last one. Uh, let me just stop this.